Tonight on World Report, he's outspoken.
I get to have the benefit of my inner voice being expressed publicly, and it's a very liberating thing. I get to say what I think, whether you like it or not.
A Democratic golden boy.
His aggressive and controversial style has made him a star in the country's most liberal city. Love him or hate him, Mayor Gavin Newsome says what he thinks. But how will his defiant ambition play outside San Francisco? An exclusive interview.
One-on-one, no holds barred with the controversial mayor of San Francisco right now on World Report. Now from San Francisco, here's Christy O'Connor.
Lombard Street, world famous for its twists and turns, kind of like San Francisco and the views Mayor Gavin Newsome represents. Bold turns away from conventional thinking. Mayor Newsome fights for gay marriage, protection for illegal immigrants, an outspoken, unabashed progressive target who likes to tell the right wing, hey, bring it on. But recently, Mayor Newsome took a reckless turn of his own in his personal life and hurt some of those closest to him.
This is a city that prides itself on engaging the public in a dialogue to determine priorities. Yet this process was completely trumped by a motion that excluded all of you from the process of deliberation.
He can draw a crowd and arouse passion.
That is not democratic. Those are not the principles that this city was founded on. Those are not San Francisco principles.
A liberal, populist, pro-labor, but also pro-business, Time magazine has called him one of the best big city mayors. Newsweek, a rising star of the Democratic Party. He became a millionaire in his early 30s by starting the wine company Plumpjack with backing from oil heir and close friend Gordon Getty. With sky-high approval ratings that have hit the 80s, he'll likely be re-elected after balancing a $5 billion budget that was a mess when he was elected at just 36 years old. He's a champion of gay marriage. He proudly says his city is a sanctuary city for illegal immigrants, and he won't allow San Francisco police to help the federal government enforce immigration laws. It all has some conservatives calling him names like San Francisco Sicko.
I'm a favorite of these Bill O'Reillys and, Michael Savages and others. And the vitriol, the hatred, the obvious fact that these guys didn't get much hugs from their parents or something is self-evident when you listen to these radio shows. And it's exactly why I'm proud to stand alone and stand separately. And again, it must be immeasurably frustrating for them because this city works. And if it didn't work, they would point that out and exploit it. The fact is, it works magnificently.
Immigration.
Mm-hmm.
You have made it clear that no one on your staff or even associated with the city will participate in raids.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's a safe city.
We have the right at a local level to say, you know what, federal government, you do your job. We and local law enforcement will do ours. You have a right to do it. We're not going to stop you. But I'm not going to spend my time running into someone's household where half the people there are legal immigrants, the other half may not be, and have fear permeated where people are looking behind their backs, scared to death to go in emergency rooms when family members sick or have their kids go to school because they may or may not be accused of being illegal or an illegal citizen. And it's just a decision that we've made, one I'm proud of. The sky hasn't fallen in. The world hasn't come to an end. Economy's never done better in San Francisco.
Okay, let me reel off some of the concerns that people have about the immigration policy.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. What about all these illegal immigrants that may have criminal backgrounds coming unchecked into our homes, working in our public places? You're letting those go unchecked.
Well, if someone commits a felony, we cooperate with the INS under our sanctuary city. So we're not hiding, aiding, and abetting felons. Quite the contrary. We're just saying we're not going to participate in ICE raids.
In Newsome's sanctuary city, illegal immigrants can work and live freely. So you don't
we haven't
consider
stepped
yourself
away
breaking the law?
Quite the contrary. And that's why 26 cities have sanctuary cities. We're not breaking any law. I guess that's what frustrates people, that we're thoughtful enough that we're not breaking the law, but we're saying we're not going to participate in the enforcement of the federal law, which we have every right to do.
Gay marriage.
Yeah.
The law says union between man and woman.
That's right.
In 2004, you approved 4,000 marriages. Supreme Court
Yep.
nullifies them,
Right.
says that he overstepped his authority.
Right.
Appeals court agrees. And did you?
We're going to be at the California Supreme Court by the end of the year. The lower court actually adjudicated in our favor. There's a Republican judge, Catholic, self-described Catholic judge, said that the law is unconstitutional, and that's what we were trying to advance, the constitutional question. We decided to do it in a little different way than many people suggested it should have been done. We wanted to put a human face on discrimination, and we wanted to create a narrative, a story, a life. And that was really the point of doing it the way we did it, as opposed pen to paper and dealing with discrimination in the abstract in the traditional way. So clearly I'm open to criticism for the way we approached the question and the issue, but I don't apologize because I feel what we did was right.
Newsome says civil unions aren't enough, that only the full rights of marriage will satisfy him. He views the outcome of this fight as inevitable.
The fact is, in 1967, 70% of Americans opposed interracial marriage. And if we subjected that question to popular opinion, arguably, and I don't think this is an absurd statement, arguably we wouldn't have interracial marriage today. But there are certain principles, foundation of which is the equality, principles of equality, that transcend time and transcend a principle in the context that it advances a principle regardless of the period of time. And I think the issue of equality should be afforded to everyone regardless of ethnicity, regardless of race, and now, of course, by definition, extending it to sexual orientation. This door's open, whether they like it or not. And there's not, from my perspective, much to fear. I think denying someone whose birth found themselves, through the quirk of fate, found themselves falling in love and being attracted to someone of the same sex, should be able to dream like everybody else dreams as a young child, like I was when I first fell in love and I was fantasizing about getting married to this wonderful woman.
In 2001, Newsome married San Francisco prosecutor Kimberly Guilfoyle, two young ascendant stars in public life. The Camelot couple, the media dubbed the new Kennedys. Guilfoyle campaigned tirelessly to help Newsome get elected. But about the same time, Guilfoyle's television career took off. With her career in New York, they lived a bi-coastal life. But after just 3 years, the marriage was over. And now she's an anchor on Fox News. Newsome speaks well of Guilfoyle and says it's a closed chapter in his life, and he now focuses on the job.
There has to be a tremendous personal cost. I mean, you're working constantly.
Yeah,
you had been married,
your
wife had gone to the East Coast,
Sure.
You were constantly alone, and you are working
I'm doing potholes, which I love. I just did a big analysis.
So, but why is it worth the personal cost?
I don't know, because, you know, I'm one of those strange guys that has done 2 reports that have driven my passion. This shows you how boring I am. I just came up with a new report on litter, where we had an international group come in and analyze what type of litter is on our streets. I devoured it. I love.
What kind of litter is on our streets?
I can talk to you about gum wrappers. I could talk about muni transfers, Starbucks cuts. I love it. I even analyzed how many garbage cans we have in the city compared to cities around the world. Another great report. I'm a boring guy.
Let's talk about the homeless. You say that you're homeless, care, not cash.
Yeah.
Just for those who don't know it, care and services versus money, has taken 5,000 off the street, put nearly 2,000 in housing.
Yeah.
90% of those in housing are still there. Then you have critics saying, wait a minute, since Gavin Newsome's been in office, we have 25 to 30% increase in homelessness.
I guess everyone can make up a number, and everyone has a right to their own opinion, but not to their own set of facts. Facts are there's a 38% decline in the street population. The fact is 86% decline in the caseload of people that were formerly receiving cash that are now given enhanced housing. The fact is we've gotten 5,460 people off the streets since we started. The fact is we are a national model and receive more federal money than any other time in our city's history. Ironically, from the Bush administration, an administration we don't always see eye to eye from. I prefer our approach to the rearguard criticism of people that want to get elected and have not been in the game and not been engaged.
But isn't there a point at which if you invite immigrants, if you invite homeless, mentally ill, drug addicts come on in, we'll help you?
Yep.
What about those who already live here that are getting less and less because they're having to share?
Well, it's not an or, it's an and.
How are you paying for it all?
Because they're not that expensive. There's a myth that these things come at the expense of something else. It's indeed not the case. We're already, if you're a city and a county like ours, and you have an emergency room, you're already paying for universal health access. You're doing it in the acute side of the coin, so you're paying much more. Redirect those dollars, have a more healthy population, save money in the process, deal with chronic management of people's health care, have a more vibrant workforce, more engaged workforce, more imaginative workforce, more productive workforce. Focus on policies that bring people together as opposed to divide. You tend to get people that are more creative, that are more interested in participating in that kind of environment. And these are the folks that are inventing new ideas in the internet and inventing new ways of looking at diseases and looking at ways of solving problems in ways we've never imagined in the past.
Why aren't other people doing that?
I don't know. We're a society that's no longer accountable. This is one thing where I agree with some of the more conservative critics, that we're all this victim society. Well, politicians act like victims all the time too. Well, it's just bigger than us. We can't deal with it. It's too big. Well, that's a very limiting belief. The reality is that we have capacity to do so much more, and it's just the ability to ask different questions so you get a different response, and to move away from the position of pure abdication.